So in today's video, I want to show you behind the scenes of how we produced this video for Toyota USA, the challenges we experienced, and then how we fix those in post-production. Let's check it out. So with a shoot like this, we needed obviously a very big studio that could fit not only the 8 dancers, but also the minivan. And so we used Bold Studios in Fort Worth, and it's completely blocked out with an LED screen available. And so if we were wanting to throw up the powdered graphics or any type of stock footage in the background, we would be able to have that behind the van, as well as having the dancers with the different colors with their hands and their shoes and the powder in front of the car, but also then to be in the back. So I'm gonna go over the lighting that we did for this. So with the studio, obviously the LED wall was able to have the white background, and I even think this was at 10% maybe brightness. And so for the lighting, I came in and brought my Aperture 600C, my Aperture 600X, and then my Aperture 300D here in the background. And so here in this behind the scenes photo, you'll actually see that I put an Amaran F22 up there. And so Phil here is moving the vehicle out of the shot because we're going to have separate dance moves without the vehicle in it. But when they were there and some of the dancers were all around the car, we actually lose the light that was hitting the grill and the emblem. And so I already knew I was going to be replacing this LED screen for to fit the reel, the 9x16. The wall was not tall enough, and so we threw the camera on sticks that you can see right here, and I knew I was going to fix it in post, and so I just boomed this in, and it was in the shot for all of it, but I was able just to mask it out and cover it with the extra wall that I added in post. But those are the 4 lights that we used, all Aperture in this Amaran. And so here you can see it again. We used it for their separate dances, and so they all had their green screen gloves on, and that was able to key it out in After Effects. And so like how I mentioned before, the screen was definitely not tall enough for the 9x16, so it's kind of cropped off in here. You don't see it. But I knew I was going to put it on sticks. I wanted to put gimbal and handheld during it, but realizing that the LED wall was not going to be tall enough, and I needed to make sure we saw 8 different dancers, and when they stood around, this is where the camera had to land. And so we just put it here, and I fixed the LED screen in post. The camera I used was my personal favorite and the one that I always go to. It's either going to be the R5C or the C70, and so I decided to use the R5C. I wanted the full frame capabilities, that downsampled 8K sensor. We used the 24-70 2.8. I had a matte box on it with a CPL to be able to cut the window glass of the van if we needed to see inside of it, or just cut the reflections of the lights. And so we had a battery pack here. You can see it is powering this monitor, which is my absolute go-to favorite monitor now. Holi actually sent me this to try out because I used the Mars 400s. And so they were like, hey, do you want to try this out? And I was like, yeah, sure. Did not think I was going to like it because of the size. I have a 6-inch and a 7-inch monitor. And so going back down to this 5, I was like, I won't use it. I used it one time, and now it has never left the side of the R5C. We are able to just use the monitor, and you don't have to add a receiver because it sends video signal to the transmitter on Video Village. And so there was a huge screen on the side, and the client was able to sit there, work on their laptop, do their normal stuff, and then just have this massive, video transmission just to see what was going on, make sure the shots were good. And so this monitor is my absolute favorite. It does not leave my camera. You can see it actually was not powering the R5C with the small rig battery because I was actually powering it with the battery grip handle on the other side, and because it not only can power the camera but actually acts as a trigger for recording. And so I had that powering the camera because this was a 12-hour day shoot, so I wanted to make sure I had enough battery. So now let's jump into the editing. And so I edit everything here in DaVinci Resolve, and so you can kind of see right here that the screen was not tall enough. So you're asking, why did you shoot 16:9 if you knew the final deliverables would be 9:16? And so the reason I do that is in case something happens. I knew there was going to be 8 dancers. Someone might have stepped out of the shot, and I would, if I needed to get it, I could go back and grab that clip. And the only time I will shoot 9:16 is if I know the footage needs to go straight from camera to someone's phone. And so when I have full control over it, I will always shoot 16:9 in case I need to grab something else in post. And so this is the setup we had. Even if I did shoot 9:16, we would have lost the screen here. So this is the clip. This is what we did. You can tell in here we did cut the glass to not see the reflection, but in post I covered that because they didn't want to see their faces. They just wanted to see the hands, and they're wearing green screen gloves that I was able to chroma key and change the color, hue, and saturation in After Effects. This was kind of the main spot. The car stayed here the whole time, and then everyone danced around it and did their arms in it. And this was the result. So you can see, because it's paused, the chroma keys, I chroma keyed out their hands to be blue. There's a little bit of that spill that came onto the window, but I'm going to show you. This is the top of the screen, and then this is adding and extending the wall, and then just adding the powder again to incorporate all the colors that we wanted to. So in this part of the dance, we had them dance 4 different times. Each time we changed the LED wall to a different color just to add some more color. We try to match their shoes, but even with some of the colors, we added a gradient. And so the problem with that was that the LED wall does not go all the way to the top. So now I'm going to show you the best feature, best effect that saved this project, and that is going to be called the patch replacer. So if you look right here, you can see what it is doing. So remember how I told you that I boomed in the F22 to get some light on this grill and the emblem? It was right here, and I knew, I'm already replacing the top of the screen, so I can just get rid of it in post. And so this is probably the absolute best effect I've ever done. It's called patch replacer. I did that on rectangle, and instead of clone, which is kind of like your content aware in Photoshop, I just did blending mask, and it took the colors of the LED screen, whatever layer it was at, and just completely filled it in, and it was the best feature had. I used it again kind of on the bottom to hide some of this, mainly because of the shadows that the light was casting. And because these clips were so fast pacing, if you're going to start looking for it, you'd be able to tell, like, oh, hey, that's doesn't look right, doesn't look good. But the clips move so fast, no one's really noticing it. And so because of the lights, it did not match in all of the videos. So I kind of just add a little gradient there with, again, the patch replacer. So for the last shot, I did it just like the other ones where I did the patch replacement, but because of the powder going above the screen, I decided, okay, hey, I'll cut, a little bit off of it and save it, but I can then go to Artlist that now has not only music, they have sound effects, and they have stock footage. And so I was able to find this stock footage to be able to add to my, project, and it saved the project. I had them before in the beginning, actually on the LED backdrop, and then used it in my edit to help me fix this problem right here. But huge shout out to Artlist for helping me figure out the stock footage. This is not sponsored by Artlist at all. I am just a big fan, and it's helped me save this project. So there you have it. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. And my name is Luke Asper. I shoot automotive and corporate videos. If you would like me to break down any more details on the type of lighting, camera gear, or the way that I edit, please leave them down in the comments. And until next time, see you then.